Welcome to Hear No Movie, See No Movie.
A podcast where one host watches a movie with no sound and the other listens to it with no picture.
I'm your host, Hunter Diaz, and this week I listened to Outbreak.
I'm your other host, Duncan, and this week I watched Outbreak. And we actually recorded us watching it, too.
Yeah.
It's something we've never done before. We actually sat there and forced ourselves to watch it for like 2 hours straight, side by side. And that was quite an experience because we couldn't pause it. So no matter if you need to go get water or go to the bathroom, which you got up a lot.
Yeah, I found a way around that.
Yeah.
I was blindfolded, obviously, and he had his headphones up so loud that like I knew he couldn't hear anything. So I just turned the TV up all the way, and then if I wasn't looking at the TV, I would take my blindfold off and I would like go get a beer, and I went pee.
Yeah.
You know,
No, it was great. I mean,
I could hear everything.
Yeah, it just felt like I was watching a movie. And that was the first time I've actually done the headphone trick, too, because usually you do the headphones.
Yeah, usually I do that.
Yeah, usually you do the music. And you create a playlist. I didn't create a playlist this time. I just listened to rock the whole time. So it was
You just
fantastic.
listened to
just like
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Well,
does he have a podcast I don't know about? Can we get
that
him as
would
a
be a
guest?
great podcast. Yo, right here, this could be Dwayne Johnson, this big, bulky dude next to us on this couch. By the way, guys, if you are listening to this podcast, we are in a different space today. We're in a different environment. We're actually in our living room.
Yeah, we're in our living room today. We're coming at you live. Well, not live.
Coming at you live. We're coming at you
live right
while
now.
we're alive, for
Yeah,
sure.
coming at you alive.
Alive. We're coming at you alive.
Yeah, NYCDA and all of NYC staying at home.
Staying
at home for...
Only
know.
go out for beer runs, and that's it.
Yeah, go out for essentials like beer.
Beer,
and
liquor, rum.
Yes.
I literally,
Wine at times.
I hate to admit, but I did go out the other day just to go get rum. That was the only agenda.
I have gone out. You and I went out together, like made a whole like
We made a
mission
day
out of it. Brought
yeah.
3 tote bags with us.
Yeah.
To go get beer.
And we stocked up and went through it pretty fast, actually, unfortunately. But
yeah.
But yeah, so the movie we did today is Outbreak. I believe it came out in 1995. We were actually talking about it before we started. But we don't know for sure, right?
Okay, Google. When did the movie Outbreak come out?
In the United States of America, Outbreak was released on March 10th, 1995.
What's up?
She was so loud.
She was really loud. Perfectly loud. Perfect. Hey,
Holy shit.
Google, I love you. Thank you. That's, oh my God. Why haven't we had that before? That's incredible. We can do everything. Okay, Google.
That just scared the fuck out of me.
Who stars in Outbreak?
Dustin Hoffman and Morgan Freeman.
The cast of Outbreak includes Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, and 31 others.
31? Oh
You
my.
want me to tell you more?
No, God,
No.
no. Okay. So yeah, so Dustin Hoffman is our main character. Do you feel like you got a good understanding of this movie?
I have a very solid understanding of this
I have
movie.
such a solid understanding of this movie as well.
What?
Yeah.
I
So now I got to find out where the lack is, where the slack is.
Yeah, I have a feeling you don't. I
Wow.
just have a feeling you don't.
Look, there's definitely some things I'm a little skeptical about, but I can tell you for sure, I get the A to B to this movie. Or the A to C. Maybe the B could be a little bit fuzzy, but the A to C is for sure. That makes sense? Like, I know where we're going.
Yeah.
So our main character is Dustin Hoffman.
The B in this movie, the B movie.
The B movie.
No,
we talked about that last... Oh, that was in
Last
La
episode we
La
mentioned,
Land. You like jazz?
The B in this movie, like, the middle,
Yeah.
is so far-fetched. Like, all of this movie, you're listening to it and you're like, whoa, I can relate to that because of everything going on right now.
Right.
Except that middle part. That just... I was listening to it and I was like, no.
I think I know what part you're talking about. I feel like the whole execution of the movie was like, oh, relatable, for right now. And then but the reasoning behind some of the stuff was like, what?
Well, okay, so we both know, right, they're trying to get rid of a virus.
They're trying to get rid of a virus. Do they have a name for the virus?
The name of the virus
Please tell me
is
it's
so much cooler than, like, a shitty beer.
Yeah, right? Well, wait a minute. Corona's not a shitty beer.
Yes, it is.
Corona is my favorite beer of all time.
You know it's a shitty beer.
And it's my favorite beer of all time.
But we both agree.
What yours is Blue Point, right? Blue Point Toasted.
Well, I have a lot of different. I like a lot of beers.
Oh, okay, fair. Corona's the way to go. Everybody knows that. Every bar that I'm a regular at, I go in, they give me a Corona automatically. They just know.
That's not a true thing. You just said that because
that is 100%
the bar that you work at.
The bar I work at is a bar, and when I walk in,
regularly,
and I go there regularly because I get the drink pretty cheap, and then they always they pop up in a Corona when they see me walk through the door. It's like Cheers.
They don't do. I walk.
Everybody knows your name.
None of this is true.
So, okay, what's the name of the virus?
Motamba.
All right. This is Motamba number 5. Okay, I can get behind that. I kind of wanted it to be named Ligma, but that's okay.
Ligma. What's Ligma?
Ligma balls.
Oh man.
That was very scripted.
So Motamba is the virus, right?
Okay, Motamba is the virus. It started in like Ecuador or something, right?
Was it? No, I think it was in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, where's Ecuador?
South America.
Definitely not South America. Definitely started in Africa for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it like all started from monkeys.
Yeah, it did start from monkeys. We didn't know that at the beginning.
Yeah, we didn't know that from the beginning, but I mean, I guess kind of the whole movie's like a mystery movie, like trying to figure out how it started. Right? We have to get to patient 0.
So there's that, but then there's also like, the whole sense of time. So there's something they're trying to beat, which is not just this virus spreading, but do you know what the feds in this movie decide to do to get rid of it?
They Avengers it.
No.
Yeah, where they like want to nuke the place. So like in the beginning, they like bomb. Yeah, they Avengers it. They bombed the the village.
Like in this is what blew my. This was the thing that was so far fetched to me, right? Was that in this movie, a disease popped up in California, right, in one town, and the incubation period was like immediate, right? So the thing is that this disease, you get it and you start getting flu-like symptoms and you die in 2 days. The mortality rate was 100%.
Oh, it looked gruesome. These people had like giant warts on their bodies. They were bleeding from their eyes, and like every hole on their body had blood coming out, and they just looked sick. And there was also Cuba Gooding Jr. was in this movie. He was kind of like Dustin Hoffman's sidekick.
Oh, he was Major Salt.
Major Salt, yes. And then I know Morgan Freeman's character was named Ford.
Yeah, General
Ford. General Ford, and then Dustin Hoffman was Peters, I believe.
Colonel Daniels.
Daniels, that's it. It was Daniels.
Yeah, Sam Daniels.
Daniels, yeah. So we got Daniels, Ford, and Salt.
Salt is like kind of like a B character.
He very much he's one of the characters that's in almost every scene with Dustin, except he's just kind of he's the dude. I imagine he was the dude for the audience where he's like, well, what's this? So that Dustin
he's
Hoffman
quite literally a driving force.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens is
the MacGuffin, as we learned.
Yeah.
In our film school.
And
I'm smart,
you were gonna shout them out, and then you realized we're not there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was gonna be a moment of like, oh, special props to letting us record at NYCDA, but
we're not there.
Special props to our landlord for not knowing we're doing this. I was about to say,
should we shout out our building management company?
Maybe not maybe our super. Our super's dope.
Oh, he's a cool dude. His name's Angel.
Yeah, Angel. I want to get a beer with that man. A Corona, if you will.
Oh my god.
Not a Blue Point. So, he's definitely a Corona man anyway. He wouldn't get a Blue Point. So where were we? There was a movie. So.
So the disease. So what happens is, right, so Colonel Daniels works for the Army, and he's like I think he's a. No, that's drugs.
What?
I was gonna say toxicologist. That's the study of like poisons and shit.
So, okay. Wait, you're talking about Dustin? Daniels?
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
Okay.
So Colonel Daniels works for the Army as a virologist or an epidemiologist, one of the two.
Yes. Yeah, I never knew what he did. It was just kind of like, oh, you're involved in this.
Well, so yeah, that's what he does, and then his wife, who's there, it's very diehardy, right? Because him and his wife are in the middle of a divorce.
Yeah.
When all this shit pops up, but his wife does the same thing, but not for the Army. She works for the CDC
in Atlanta. Represent.
So she just got the job at the CDC, and she's currently moving out as this all pops up. So what happens is this disease pops up in Africa.
Yeah.
And he goes to check it out, and apparently...
Yeah, he goes, with Kevin Spacey.
What?
Kevin Spacey's also in this movie. So yeah, it's Kevin Spacey, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Dustin Hoffman, all three go check out the virus in Africa.
Oh, so Kevin Spacey plays Casey.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, that's his partner.
Yeah, and so they all go, and they're all like in their hazmat suits, and when they investigate this virus, they kind of start to see it firsthand of how serious it is and all these people dying, and Cuba Gooding Jr. actually like freaks out at one point because he sees like this kid around his mom and dad who just died, and the kid has the virus, and the kid's about to die, but the kid's sobbing his eyes out, and Cuba like, or what's his real name, Salt like freaks out, and like, and then he has to like take off his mask and get fresh air, and I'm like, he's dead, but then he never even got it.
Salt is like a very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed kind of guy, like he's new, and in the beginning, like Dustin Hoffman says to him, he's like, "Oh, are you ready for this? Like, we're getting ready to jump in." And Salt says, "Oh no, I'm ready and prepared, sir. Like I've been training, blah blah." He goes, "Listen, I understand you're trained to jump into a war zone. You're about to jump into the hot zone of a virus right now."
Yeah.
And then they jump in, they see it, and what happens is we realize that Colonel Daniels is the guy who always goes and investigates viruses in other countries or like that pop up anywhere.
Right.
And then he's like known for always coming back to the U.S. and saying like, we need to put an alert out right now to the citizens of the country.
He's kind of like the wolf dude.
Yeah, like the boy who cried wolf. But the thing is, he's educated.
Right, like he should be crying wolf.
Right, like that's his job is to cry wolf. And his boss is played by Morgan Freeman, General Ford. So he comes back from that disease.
Who they've like known each other for a while. And I think they're like friends outside.
They even refer to each other as friends at some point.
Yeah, they're like friends outside of this, and they don't really agree most of the time, as we see.
There was a scene in the beginning where he was like, so he comes back, right?
Yeah.
And he says to his boss, Morgan Freeman, he's like, "Listen, Morgan, we gotta let everyone know."
What's it? Ford.
Yeah, General Ford, we have to let everyone know that, this virus is happening, blah, blah, blah. And he says to him, "No, I can't do that right now. Like, we can't let people scare the people. We can't, blah, blah, blah. It's not a worry. You said this about Ebola. You said this about other things." Exactly. And he goes on, and he's like, and he goes, "Well, you've been my friend for 13 years. Like, I need you to listen to me right now and understand that when I say this, I mean it." And he goes, "I have been your friend for 13 years, but I'm also your boss, and you need to follow my orders."
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what. And Dustin, I mean, the strange part about all of this is Colonel Daniels is right the entire movie. Like, if they would have just listened to him and done what he needed to do, the movie could have been an hour long. But
it was a 2 hour.
It was 2 hour and
8
minute movie. Because Daniels kept, getting conflicted with all these military personnel, and then you also have Donald Sutherland in the movie, who he's like the boss of Ford. It's actually like his call to make. Clintock, is that his name? McClintock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like his.
Dude, I got all the fucking names. Holy shit. I'll tell you what.
Luckily for me, they did have they were all wearing military gear, so they had the names like on their chest. So I was trying to catch them as best as I can. Because it wasn't like, "Hi, my name is," but it was like a nice little like Ford. We should do military movies more often.
They have name tags.
They have name tags.
Yeah,
and they also have like rankings. So like maybe one of it we could start like learning the rankings more. So like Colonel Daniels, of course.
Right.
See the stripes or the stars, and so this is a military movie though. At the end of the day, if you ask me, you have like the private, Cuba Gooding Jr. You have the main guy.
Well, he's a major.
Major
Saul.
Yeah, Major Saul. But like he's like the new guy in the world that we're being introduced to. And then you have like the main guy who's always like kind of a troublemaker, but like he plays by his own rules.
He's like a loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules.
Exactly.
It's very Die Hard-y.
Look, Outbreak is just the sequel to Die Hard.
I mean, it's just Die Hard, but they're sick. Like
they're the X Games sick?
Or they're sick, dude.
Yeah, are they X Games sick or are they like cough sick? So, all right, so now we're at the point, and what happens is this one dude who's, like, dresses in, like, concert tees and has, like, piercings and long hair.
Jimbo,
is that his name?
I believe. Is he the first guy to get sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimbo.
Well,
he's the first guy to get sick in America.
Exactly, first guy to get sick in America. I love how you knew exactly how.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first guy to get sick in America. He, like, is working at a factory where they, like, are doing all these monkeys and stuff. Someone's working out in the hallway.
Yeah.
So he is. That was such just a somber moment of like, yes.
All right, it's a new setting for us. All right.
We're accustoming. Luckily,
Yeah,
we're
we're getting accustomed to it.
Yeah, we're getting there. So where were we? Okay, so yes, Jimbo. He steals one of the monkeys and he's gonna sell it to this like zoo dude, right? Like not a zoo dude, but the dude who works at a pet store. He's gonna sell it and get the money.
Oh, in California, in Cedar Creek, California.
No. Yes. Yeah.
Boom, dude, I got.
And he so he tries to sell this monkey. He steals the monkey. He tries to sell this. First, on the car ride over, the monkey like spits in his mouth. So that's where he gets infected.
Oh.
And then he tries to give him the monkey, and then the monkey like scratches the zoologist, whatever you want to call him, the pet store owner.
The pet store.
And then on top of that shit, like so much happened within like 30 seconds. Then the monkey was eating a banana in the cage, and then like left the banana in the cage. So then they put the cage next to another monkey's cage, and the monkey in the other cage grabbed the banana and started eating that banana. So then that monkey got sick, the pet store owner got sick, and Jimbo got sick. So it just like really spread.
Huh.
And so then
I didn't catch any of that. I just thought that Jimbo got it from being around the monkey.
Yeah, so then Jimbo's dumbass goes, oh, so this dude doesn't want to buy the monkey anymore. Let me release him out into the wilderness.
Yeah,
so
in California.
In California. So he releases him into the wilderness, and then Jimbo on his flight back is like looking sick. And then he gets back home, and he's
to
his girlfriend to Utah.
To Utah?
I believe it was in Utah.
I thought he was in New Jersey.
I just know that like the outbreak for sure like happened in Utah.
No, it happened in California.
Was it a city called Utah?
No, it was Cedar Creek, California.
I could have swore it was Utah. Okay. Well, then either way, so he gets on. He
Was
goes.
it a city called Utah?
Yeah, Utah, California.
Oh, they tried to send.
Something Utah.
Yeah, something happens with Utah. We'll get there.
All right.
Yeah.
So Jimbo then he gets back home and he kisses his girlfriend. Immediately gets his girlfriend sick, and then they both get the virus, and that's like the first time we see like, oh, it's in America, and
Yeah.
Daniels is like, I told y'all, fucking told you, look, the dude's pissed.
So that happens, and then it comes out, and then Morgan Freeman sends Daniels to Utah, and I never learned why, but I thought it was a distraction because apparently something's going on in this town in California that the military doesn't want anyone to know about. They keep calling it the weapon, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's because they're wanting to use this disease, Motamba, as a biological weapon.
Whoa.
But they have to keep it secret because of the Geneva Convention.
Right.
So
Damn.
they never said this in the movie. I assume it because he just keeps calling it the weapon. Like
Yeah.
they all like McClintock.
No, I mean that would make sense for I guess for those who don't know, what's the Geneva Convention?
Did you do this on purpose?
Yeah.
You could Google it. All right. For those who don't know, Google it. That's not my job. All right.
The Geneva
no.
Convention is these
No,
like
he's just trying to show off.
No,
That's what you're
what?
trying to do. You're just trying to show off right
I'm
now.
not. I just want to make
No,
sure
no,
the
no,
people
no,
know that
no.
they can rely on us.
Next question.
Look, the Geneva Conventions, all right, broadly, I don't know it that well either.
Yeah, I was
but,
about to say neither of us can
no,
speak on this.
but we use this. I want to, like,
No,
I want
we use a
to
lot
for
of
people who
words. I
don't know
define
at
all of
all.
them.
Fair. If anybody understands that, I do. Fair.
Yeah. All right.
The Geneva Conventions, loosely, all right, is that like the set of rules of war. It's the set of rules in war, and one of those is that you can't use biological warfare. And another one, for an example, is you can't shoot down like men who are paratrooping, men who are in parachutes.
Do you feel happy about yourself?
A little bit,
Do you
yeah.
all think that he's smarter now?
I don't know a lot, okay, but like I played a lot of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, you're just trying to
And-
show off that you learned shit in Call of Duty.
I always love that when you're talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, I know guns. Like the MP5 and like the Galil.
They just named
There's-
guns
it's
from
like
Call of Duty.
obviously it's like, yeah, dude, I love it. Shooting an MP5 with a silencer on. It's like nobody's shooting an MP5 in today's day. That's like not at all how that works. It's so fun. Like MP7 or a PP90.
I just know guns from Call of Duty like that.
Yeah. No, I mean it's fine. Like I know guns from Call of Duty too, but it's so funny when people like try to pawn that off as like their knowledge.
Like they do with the Geneva Convention.
Exactly.
Like you just
yes.
did?
No, I didn't do that. Actually, I don't know where I learned the fucking whatever.
School probably. Like everyone who's listening.
Exactly. Or you could learn it from this podcast. Which is which is what I was trying to get at. I want to educate these people. So
apparently they want to use Mutamba as a weapon, I think.
that's cool as shit. That's a cool movie.
So they don't, like, that's another reason why they don't want everyone to, like, freak out about it, is because they don't want the world to know that they're trying to use it as a weapon.
Right. That makes sense. That adds more character depth behind the whole Donald Sutherland's character. And
who's Don? The
McClintock.
Cop.
Yeah.
So this virus pops up, right, in California, in this town where the monkey was. Mm-hmm. And it starts, like, spreading like wildfire. California wildfires. And
what do you know?
And then what else? So they send Daniels to Utah because they're like, oh, if we send our best man to California,
right,
he's gonna solve this whole thing. You know, it's all gonna be out in public. Like, we can't send him, so we send him to Utah, where everything popped up in California. And what Daniels does is he goes into the base and he, like, goes up to the person at, like, the airfield or whatever, and he says to him, like, where's my flight supposed to go? And the guy says, like, oh, you're supposed to go to Utah. And he goes, oh, no, that's not where it's supposed to go. Like, I just got orders from General Ford that I'm supposed to be going to Cedar Creek, California. Mm. And then this, like, little, you know, newbie is, like, sitting there, and he's like, well, that's not what it says here. He's like, no, General Ford's going to be pissed if I end up in Utah. Can you imagine if I end up in the wrong place right now? You change that right now. And the guy's like, well, if I change that, I could lose my stripes. And he's like, you change that, damn it. And, like, he, like, yells at him. And so he convinces this kid to put him on a flight to California.
That's like the perfect character scene for Dustin Hoffman. You know, I feel like when we do these movies, you always find that one scene. I've said this before, where, like, it's like, that's the character. You know, it's like, this scene, this is the character. And I feel like that scene, it's like Daniels is the character to go that extent, to, like, commit crimes almost against the state for the better good.
I mean, that's his whole movie. I really wanted this to be... I wish Tommy Lee Jones was the one who played Sam Daniels.
Oh, no. Dude, cool. Dustin Hoffman looks pretty old in this movie. He's got some gray hairs going. Like, this dude's getting up
he
there.
mentions that he's been doing this for, like, forever.
Acting? Yeah. Yeah. He is a good actor. I do want to go on record and say that. I do like him.
I don't.
I know you don't because of the people that like him.
No, I just don't like some of his movies.
Ah, fair.
Yeah.
Fine, that's you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, even if it's wrong, but it's fine. So let's jump ahead a little bit. The outbreak's happening. People are getting infected. They enclose this city off.
Oh yeah, so they quarantine the city. They send the military there, and they, like, tell people, like, no one's allowed in or out. Blah blah blah. Yeah. And then he runs into his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Right, and now they all start working together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this nice big...
Because the CDC takes charge of this rather than the military, but he's not going to just sit idly by and not take charge.
Oh, no, he's not that guy. Yeah.
So while they sent him to Utah, he went against orders and went to Cedar Creek, California, and told everyone in California, he was like, all right, I'm in charge. And then his ex-wife shows up, and she's like... She tells everyone, she's like, all right, if you guys need anything, let me know. I'm in charge. And then the guy's like, ma'am, I thought that guy was in charge. And she's like, God damn it.
Yeah, they think the same. That's why their marriage didn't work out. They're too similar. They honestly are. They're very much like, I would do this for the greater good type people. And so now we have these four people, right? They're like the main characters, I'd say. So, you know, it starts with Daniels, Dustin Hoffman. Then you have Renee Russo, I believe.
I did not get her character name.
We'll call her Renee.
Yeah.
How does that sound? Renee. And then, so they're like the ex-wife. And then you get Cuba Gooding Jr. and Kevin Spacey. And so...
And Morgan Freeman.
Kevin
Spacey does not matter.
Yeah, a little bit. He does in a minute. Yeah, you're right. He actually still doesn't.
Yeah.
He was just, like, there. But, like, those were the four people who were on the ground, like...
Yeah.
In hazmat suits, always trying to treat people, always trying to figure out what the next move is. And so, yeah, this is where the movie gets a little bit fuzzy because it's just more or less like them running around town. You're seeing the spread happen. You're seeing, like, the town folks getting it. You're seeing the frustration that, like, they're all having, that, like, they can't find a cure of it, you know, and
well,
it sucks.
They aren't really trying to find a cure of it because what happens is McClintock, who is Morgan Freeman's boss.
Yeah, Donald.
So apparently the president is, like, away, right? So everyone's trying to like figure out like what to do, blah blah. And they
away.
decide it's called Operation Clean Sweep. They're gonna firebomb the town and fucking kill everyone in it.
Yeah, which is what they did in the beginning. So it was like a cool like callback, I guess. It's like, oh, this is just how they solve things.
Wait, what?
So in the beginning, to that one African village, they like bombed it.
They did?
Yeah. So like the way it, like before the credits even roll, they like the CDC or whoever you want to call them visits this town and they go, oh, it's outbroken, and then they just leave. And then they're like, where are you going? You're not going to give us any help or anything like that. And then they see a plane fly over. And they're like, oh, help. And then you just see like this bomb parachuting down. And they're like, oh, and they start running to it because they just think it's like supplies or something. And then as soon as it touches down, it blows up the entire village like a mini nuke.
Oh, fuck.
So it was interesting writing of like, that's how it started and that's how they plan to end it.
Yeah, I mean...
Sucks.
It's a fucked up thing.
Fucked up thing. And, you know, there's no Iron Man there to guide that into a wormhole and destroy the Shatari army. Ryan, if you're listening, drink.
And then... So then there's like a really cool scene, actually. And I think it's like in Congress or somewhere.
Yeah.
And this guy is talking about this Operation Clean Sweep. And he says, he's like, if we're going to kill an entire town, like firebomb an entire town... He tells everyone in the room, he was like, no one is allowed to leave this room and say they were against it. Yeah. He was like, if we do this, we need support of everyone in here.
The White House.
Yeah, and he was saying, he was like, we need the support of everyone in here. No one is allowed to tomorrow go on the news and say, I was the sole person in the room who said we shouldn't do it.
Smart.
He was like, if we're taking this step, we need everyone's support. And he was like, everyone needs to be behind it, whether you like it or not. And I was like,
that's crazy to think. That's just a wild scenario. And luckily, we have people like Daniels who prevents things like that.
So, well, they're going through with it. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to blow up this town so then they like don't find the cure for the vaccine for this because if they find a vaccine for it, then they can't use this disease as a weapon.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And Daniels, I think Daniels starts to get like a lead on that, and then he goes and like hijacks his helicopter with Cuba.
So what happens is that's how this guy gets involved in everything. Basically he's in California.
Talking about Cuba or Daniels?
Both. They're both in California.
Okay.
And Daniels is there trying to figure everything out. His wife is there trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And then they're like going around trying to figure out like who brought what into this town that caused this disease. They're trying to find patient zero. They can't. And then what they're trying to do is find the host of this, because like most things like this you like get from animals, right? So they're trying to find the animal host, and because that animal has an immunity to it. Exactly. So it's like something in that animal we can use.
So that makes sense. I was trying to figure that out. I was like, why do they need to find the first animal to do it? And then it occurred to me that like that animal, yeah, you're right, has immunity, because they were watching. So that one monkey who ate the banana, and they were watching him, and then one day that monkey just was like Sprite and was like healthy again, and they were like, it built an immunity, which means they need to find the original then. So they
try to find the host.
Right. And so the way they do that is they get on this, they hijack this helicopter, right? They fly it overseas onto this boat where apparently, I guess, patient zero happened.
Well, what he does is there's a cool moment where he says to Major Salt, where he's like, have you ever flown a helicopter? And Major Salt's like, I've taken classes.
Yeah, that was
how many hours have you had? About 60 hours. All right, get in.
And get it. It's like when they take off, it actually helps that he doesn't know, because like army personnel starts like flooding the helicopter, and he like tail spins it because he doesn't know how to fly it, and it almost like everybody ducks, and then they're able to take off.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Like they would have gotten to him if he like knew how to fly, I guess.
That's pretty cool.
But what's crazy is then like you say that, then they fly here and here, and then we get to like the most badass. Like I never realized that like this is the most random badass moment I've ever heard of.
Oh, was it when he had to fucking jump out of the helicopter?
No. Oh. Well, yeah, like I am jumping ahead a little bit here, and I apologize because I'm really excited to talk about this moment. But
That and the Geneva Convention.
Yeah. Oh God. You want to wait for this to pass? All right, they're gone.
Yeah.
So he jumps out onto this boat, and they find patient zero, and he's like, okay, so he's like looking for like maybe the patient had an animal, and he finds out that the patient did have this monkey. And so, like, he was best friends with the monkey originally.
Oh, so what happened was the Jimbo guy, when he took the monkey, he shipped it on a certain boat. And so he's trying to figure out where that monkey is.
Yeah, he has to find that monkey. So he's
Right.
like he's chasing down these, but all in a helicopter, which they never refueled.
Well, so they even mentioned that. They were like, "Oh, don't worry, we have 400 miles of fuel in this thing."
Oh, thank God,
Yeah.
because I guarantee they traveled like 399 miles.
And so
It
what
was
happened was
ridiculous.
he had to try and find how this monkey got here, and because he wanted to find the monkey.
Yeah.
And so he like figured out this kid's travel records, went to where this boat came in, and then went to the boat, which was out at sea.
Yep. And he jumped from the helicopter onto the boat.
Onto the boat.
And it never said how they got him back in the helicopter.
Oh, he said, so what happens is the Major Saul is a rookie, so he can't just land on the boat.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I can get you close enough to jump. And then he's like, oh, how do I get back on? He goes, well, you either clear some space on the deck or I throw you a rope.
Fair, okay.
Yeah.
Fair, as long as they acknowledge it. Yeah, because then like they just cut and then like he's in the helicopter again.
Yeah.
So this is the scene I was talking about that I was getting excited about though, is they have this like helicopter dogfight randomly in this movie. There's just like this helicopter dogfight.
That's so much later.
I mean they're like in the helicopter and then they go and they like, yeah, you're right, because they do. Then they. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself again.
Yeah,
they go
so
and they find the monkey.
They get on the boat, and no one speaks English.
Yeah.
Except like one guy kind of speaks English, and he's like, "I'm an American doctor. I'm trying to figure out if you had any animals on this boat." And then the guy's like, "American doctor, we have a sick person." And then he's like, "Oh." So what happens is he goes to this guy. So he's like, "Show me the sick person," and the sick person is showing the same symptoms as.
Well, the sick person was actually like in a body bag. It was like already like.
Yeah.
He's already dead. He's already completed his cycle. But you can look at him and go, "Oh, he had the virus.
Yeah,
he had
so
the warts and the blood." Ugh.
Colonel Daniels says, like, "Can you show me this guy's sleeping quarters?" And he goes there and he's like looking around, and I guess he finds pictures or something.
He
of
finds
a monkey,
pictures of the monkey.
and he says, like, where did you get this monkey?
Mm-hmm.
And then they like, oh, and so they show him like, oh, where they were like, we shipped this monkey to here, and then he was like, did this guy have contact with the monkey? And then they were like, yeah. He goes, it was the monkey. He's like, he knows immediately. This host was the host of this virus was the monkey.
Exactly.
So
then they break onto a news show.
Yeah, they break
Which
into
is
a
cool.
news station.
And they do it like with guns blazing, like
Dude,
they're like
yeah.
holding guns up, knocking in doors. Everybody's like, because it's a news studio, and it's like if someone came in here right now while we were recording and just like knocked on the door
With, like, a fucking gun.
with military personnel like persona, and like guns, and they were just like back up, and then they got on air. Like immediately there was a lead, the male host and a female host. The male host got up and like threw his mic down and ran away. and then like he picked up the mic. Daniels did, and like gave that kind of like,
yeah, he
I'm
even
looking
asks,
for
he's
this.
like, where's
He
the
has
camera?
picture.
And he like, and he holds a picture of the monkey.
Meanwhile, we see that a daughter, I guess in California as well, has like befriended this monkey and told her mom about it, and the mom is sitting there like cleaning up dishes.
Oh, because the guy had set it free in the beginning, right?
Yeah. And so she's like cleaning up dishes, and then sees that on the news, and then panics and like drops the dishes because then she sees her daughter out there like trying to summon the monkey back with food.
Oh shit!
And she's like, "Oh my god!" And then. So then, like, she calls him because he puts his phone number up there. He's like, "Call me if you know." It's like his personal phone number. So then, like, he finds out. But, of course, it's his personal phone number. It's the military. They hack into it. So they hear when he gets that call. So they go, "Oh, I know where he's going. Let's go get him."
Oh.
And so then Mick Slorley, whatever.
McClintock.
Anyway. We have Salt, Daniels, Ford, and then McClintock.
These are very military names.
Very military names. And so they're like, all right, let's go. So they get in like fighter choppers. And these guys are only in like, little dinky choppers, Daniels. They're like in a dinky chopper. And they're in like big, bulky, like can carry a car with like a rope on the bottom of it, choppers. And so they first go and they get the monkey. And it was like a fucking stressful scene, dude. It was the most stressful
I heard this,
thing.
and then there was only one thing that sounded cool. It was super annoying.
Oh my God.
Wait, there's even...
So what happened was they had Salt in the bushes, and he had like a tranquilizer gun, and then they had the dog, or then they like put food out, and they were gonna wait for the monkey to come, but the monkey wasn't coming. So then they had the idea that the monkey likes the daughter, so send the daughter out there. Except the daughter's like 3 or 4, so she doesn't really understand what's happening.
Yeah.
So then the daughter goes out there with food, and she's trying to summon it.
Well, she got it mad. She didn't want to do it. Because they thought...
So they did tell her.
Because these military people are showing up and want to know where the monkey is. She's like, are you going to hurt it?
Yeah,
And he's like,
sense.
listen. and he says to her, he's like, that monkey is very. He says to her, he's like, have you ever been sick? Did you like it? He goes, this monkey is sick. And he's getting a lot of people sick. Dude. So I need you to help me find it so I can help it get better.
And this is the most stressful scene in the whole movie, really.
Finding the monkey?
Well, so they find the monkey, and then the monkey's like there, and Salt comes out of the bushes, and he's all excited, like he's about to shoot it. He's like, oh, this is it. Like, this is gonna, like, this is the cure.
Right.
So he's about to shoot it, and as soon as he's about to pull the trigger, the girl moves to the left to, like, feed. No, he's almost
that would've been
to feed it. And she's, like, feeding it, because she doesn't understand, like, where Salt is or anything. So then she's, like, in the way for him to shoot the monkey. And then so, like, the parents and Dustin Hoffman are inside, like, freaking out. They're like, move! Like, but they can't tell her because the monkey's going to run. So they're just like, move out of the way. And Salt's, like, trying to get a shot around her. And then finally he, like, tries to take a step and he, like, knocks over something, makes a loud noise. And then the monkey, like, perks up. And then the girl, like, kind of turns around, but she turns around just in enough way where she moves out of the way. And then he shoots, like, right beside her and gets the monkey in the butt.
I didn't hear any of that.
And it was the most, like, intense thing because it was just, like, as soon as she stepped in the way, you're just like, move! You get so mad at this little girl.
Damn.
And it was so annoying. But they get the monkey gets tranquilized, and they put it on the helicopter just in time for the other helicopter to show up. And then this is where the dogfight happens. And they're, like, going through bridges and stuff, and they're shooting at them.
Well, so what happens is they have the monkey, and what they're trying to do... There was even a cooler part of that scene than the dogfight. So
there is no other cooler scene in this movie but the dog.
No. In that scene, right? Like, there's a cool moment where they have the monkey and they're trying to take it to this place in California where the CDC is, so they can, like, extract whatever is keeping this disease from making the monkey sick and put it in the people.
Okay.
But the bomber is already on its way to California with the firebomb to kill everybody.
Exactly. So it's all time clock. It's all time sensitive right now.
And so what Dustin Hoffman decides to do is he gets on the same frequency as the pilot of that bomber plane.
Oh, we're not there yet, though.
What?
Not yet. That happens after the helicopter dogfight.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you're talking about when they play, like, chicken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that happens in a minute.
Oh.
So this whole dogfight helicopter thing, like, they're just, like, shooting and chasing down them because they need to get to that. Oh. They need to get to that helicopter. Well, first they don't even go there, actually. First they need to get to the lab to get the cure.
Okay.
So they're, like, chasing them down. They're trying to shoot them out of the sky. And they're, like, going under bridges and going through power lines. And they're, like, shooting. And then at one point, like, all of a sudden this dude who had 60 hours of training.
Oh, shit. I know what you're talking about, actually.
Yeah, all of a sudden this guy who had 60 hours of training can fucking fly this, like, I can in GTA 5.
Well, so what happens is he asks Colonel Daniels, he goes, do you want me to go under or over the bridge, sir? And he goes, whatever you think you can do. Dude. And then he decides to go, I don't know.
He goes under.
So he decides to go under it.
And so there's two choppers trying to get him. And one chopper, like, diverges. Like, oh, I ain't going under the bridge. And then the other one with McClintock. He's like, no, you go under. And they, like, almost hit the thing. Like, they thought they were going to hit it because they were so big.
Shit.
They almost hit the bridge, but they didn't. So they both cleared it. And then they're, like, going up. And they're, like, going around cliffs. And then, like, at one point, damn, God, why not? These names are killing me.
Wait, I know what happens.
What?
So there was a cool moment where
Salt.
Colonel Daniels asks Salt, he goes, hey, what are those things on the side of this helicopter? Are those rockets? And Salt goes, yeah. And he goes, shoot them into the trees.
Yeah, almost. So the way they do it is he flies just straight up. And the other helicopter's too bulky to kind of do it. So he tries to follow. And then it's like he flies up and then, like, pans backwards. And then now he's behind them.
Right.
So, and then they lose him. So they don't shoot the helicopter down because they're good guys.
No,
good guys don't shoot.
What they did on purpose. They did it on purpose.
Yeah, so then he tells him to shoot the trees, and then he does, and then he goes down, and then he's flying through the trees, so then it looks like they crashed.
Yeah, so then the guy in the helicopter chasing them is like, oh, they crashed.
Yeah.
We're out
Meanwhile, they're, like, on top of, like, a truck. They're, like, hovering right above a truck through this, like, dirt, road.
Yeah, to avoid radar, they had to stay low.
Yeah, and it was such a cool moment of just, like, you're like, oh my god, like, they shot a rocket. I know they're not dead, but where are they? And then it's just, like, a log truck passes by with them, just, like, hovering above it.
Oh, that's cool.
And you're just like, oh yeah, those are the heroes. So then they go to the lab, and they end up getting a cure. Meanwhile, which we haven't even talked about, Kevin Spacey's contracted the virus.
Oh yeah, Kevin Spacey has a disease. Kevin Spacey plays Daniel's partner. Yeah. So he is a friend of him and also a friend of his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Yeah.
So he stays in California with the soon-to-be ex-wife and he gets the virus, and it's like, there's a whole storyline between like him and the soon-to-be ex-wife, and
but it's
just,
like wasn't really. It
wasn't huge, yeah.
Yeah, and then the wife Renee gets the virus as well.
Oh, so there was a cool moment where before he left California to like go rogue.
Yeah.
Colonel Daniels says to his soon-to-be ex-wife, he goes, "If I'm not back by 1800 and you're not symptomatic, leave." And she's like, "I can't." She's like, "I can't just leave. Like I have to do my job." He's like, "Do it." Because they're going to firebomb this town and she's in it.
He still cares about her.
And,
he definitely still loves her. He's just not in love.
And so
he gets back to the lab and they create this cure. And as he's doing it, as they're like doing it, like he doesn't even know if it's really going to work. And he goes and visits her. And then he has this cool Darth Vader moment where he's like takes off his hazmat.
Well, none of this has happened yet. Because they're still chasing the bomber at this point.
Yeah, no, this is all before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he takes off his hazmat suit. And she's like, "What are you doing? Like you're in a room full of sick people or whatever." And then he's like, he has the Darth. He's like, "I want to feel, like I want to touch you." And like he like takes her hand and
never says that.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Never says
but
that.
But he takes her hand and puts her hand like on his face, and then she puts both of his hands on her. And I guarantee it was a moment of like, if I don't pull this off, then we're all doomed anyway.
Yeah, and it was also like, I guess it shows how confident he was in the fact that he found the cure.
And then, sure enough, they found a cure, and then like Salt rushes in, hooks up the IV, and like does it, and then they're like, "That's it." And then Salt runs back out, and then runs back in, and then he's like, Dustin Hoffman's character is celebrating, and then Salt's like, "No, they're about to bomb the city. Like right now, we need to go."
Yeah.
So then they get back in the chopper, and then they take off. And at this point, like, the military personnel are shooting at them, like, shooting them down with guns, like, shotguns and stuff. Yeah. But they get out too quick. So then we get to this, like, this cool chicken fight. Like, you ever seen Footloose?
Well, what happened? So it doesn't start out as a chicken fight.
No, not at all. They go on the radio with them, and they're, like, arguing back and forth.
Well, what he tries to do is, so this was a cool moment for, like, what they were saying was...
Yeah, this was the moment when I was watching. I was like, the dogfight was for me. But then this part is for you. It was a cool, like, climactic moment for watching and listening.
So Colonel Daniels is in a helicopter, and they're trying to catch up with the bomber.
Yeah.
And so he gets on the same frequency, and he's like, as the pilot who's driving this bomber, and he says, like, "Listen, I don't know who you are. I know what you're about to do." And he was like, "You're about to kill a ton of Americans, and you don't have to." He's like, "I know you're just following orders, but just know I'm right behind you with something that could prevent you from having to do this, and I know you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life." And he's trying to guilt this guy. And then Major Salt says to him, he's like, "Sir, if he's following orders, he's not going to listen to you." Yeah. So he just keeps saying, and then McClintock is in a helicopter like behind them or some shit.
No, he's back at base now. Because he like thought they died. And then all of a sudden they're on radio frequency. And I was like, what the hell?
So McClintock is like also on the same frequency as this pilot. He's like, "Don't listen to him. You obey orders and you drop that bomb." And he's like fucking Dustin Hoffman is like telling this guy, he's like, "No, like I have the cure. You don't have to do this. You do not have to do this." And then McClintock turns to General Ford, and he's like, "You need to get your person in order." And General Ford is like, "You're right. I do need to get him in order." So he goes on the headset, and he says, "Colonel Daniels, you are going to prevent the bomber from getting there if you get in front of it." And McClintock goes, "Why did you say that?" Now he knows, oh my God. And then Morgan Freeman says to everyone in the room at base, he goes, "Everybody, I'm taking command here. General McClintock is no longer here in command. He is actually under arrest for trying to murder like thousands of Americans."
Yeah.
And McClintock takes control, and Dustin Hoffman says to Major Salt, he goes, "You get in front of that bomber."
Mm-hmm.
And so Salt like tries to catch up with the bomber, and they're literally like, then it's a game of chicken. So he tries to he gets in front of the bomber so the bomber can't get to the town to drop the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pilot's like says to McClintock, he's like, "Sir, I can't get there." And Ford takes over, and he's like, "All right, well, abort mission."
Yeah.
And then they just drop the firebomb off in the ocean.
Well, so what? Like as they're doing chicken, like he's like, "Oh, I can't get there. I can't get there." Like they're freaking out.
Yeah.
And then they both pull away at last second, so it pulls the helicopter like to the right.
Oh.
So then the bomb like still ejects, and it's cool the way they shot it because all you see is like you don't see that they're over water. You just see like the bomb parachute come out.
Oh,
and then it starts to go.
So you think like it's still gonna...
Yeah.
Oh.
And the way they shot it, you're like, oh my God. And then you see the city, but you also see the water. And then it explodes off in the distance in the water. And you're like, oh, it was like a good relief. Like, oh, they did it.
And then it's like a pretty quick ending.
Then it just ends.
It ends. Yeah, he like has a moment with his ex-wife, and he's like,
"Yeah,
I still love you." And then
it ends. And then they cure everybody, and that's it. So that's Outbreak.
That's Outbreak. Yeah,
pretty exciting ending. All things considered. I mean, it had a pretty
It
exciting...
was a cool movie.
I felt like Fortunate Son should have been playing in the beginning.
Any scene
way
with a
they shot.
helicopter, Fortunate
Oh my
Son
God,
was playing.
it's just the
all
whole-
because of
yeah.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Or MASH, isn't it?
I don't know.
I thought it was MASH. Yeah. Maybe both. Who knows? But, I mean, I'm sure someone does. Not us.
That's true.
No. What would you rate this movie, though?
Oh, I would give it. It was pretty cool. Like, it was pretty fun. I loved how there was like all these different storylines going on, but it also like wasn't too spooky. Like, I thought with everything going on right now, like I was gonna be super spooked, and I was like, no, I wasn't. So it was actually like pretty thrilling.
Yeah.
So I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. Yeah, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. That's not bad. You know, I think I'm gonna go with you on that one. 8 out of 10. I think that's a really good. Like, it wasn't like the best movie. I won't really go back and watch it, but all things considered, I've had worse times watching movies. This is one of the times where I was watching it. I'm just like, I'm just watching a movie.
It was a 2-hour movie, and I was sitting here with a blindfold on, which we don't usually do.
Yeah.
And I would.
But we're trying to do more. We're trying to.
And I did not feel tortured.
Yeah, I did not feel tortured at all during this. Like, so no, it was definitely a good movie. I loved the dog fighting in it. The acting wasn't bad. I tell you what though, it is a crime. This is the second movie we've done where there's an actor in there who has like a very distinctive voice, but I'm watching and I can't hear it.
It was so funny because I was like, I heard his voice and I went, yo, fucking Morgan Freeman?
Yes. So Morgan Freeman was in this one, and I think the other one we did was Dallas Buyers Club with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't even listen. I did hear Matthew McConaughey though in Magic Mike, so I guess I should give myself credit for that.
Get over it.
But yeah, get over it. But Morgan Freeman, this is the first Morgan Freeman movie we've ever done.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to hear him. I got to see him, and
luckily
I can hear his voice in my head.
You can count his freckles.
Yeah, I can count all 16 of them.
He's got way more than that.
You think so?
Every time he does a movie, he gets a freckle.
It's like a
yeah.
Oh my God, in the Game of Thrones, the Dothraki or whatever. They get the little ponytail thing.
Yeah.
Every time Morgan Freeman wins a fight, he gets a freckle. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Outbreak.
Holy hell. Is there anything else? What do we usually do? I
don't know. You don't usually do this from home, so it's like I can just leave, you know?
Yeah, I can go back and once we finish, sit here and watch some Impractical Jokers. Like, our day just goes on.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Stay tuned to social media. Evan and I have another project coming out sometime soon, maybe the same day as this podcast.
Yeah, it actually should be the same day this podcast comes out.
Yeah, so be on the
things
lookout.
go well. Also, I guess we do want to touch on the March giveaway thing we've been doing.
Yeah, until further notice, we won't be able to keep up with that just because we can't get to like facilities to make the merch bag and whatnot right now. Everything's shut down and we have to stay home. So that is, we'll pick that up in a bit, but you know, until then,
you're more than welcome to keep reviewing us. If we will continue to.
Yeah,
them.
we'll extend the contest. So if you listen to this episode, as of right now, you can still keep submitting your reviews, and eventually we'll rate them.
Yeah,
but right now,
I mean, we're always on that stuff, you know. So whether you leave a comment or you send us a DM or you email us, whatever you do, whatever engagement you do, we do our best to, you know, especially now more than ever. We're sitting at home doing nothing.
Doing nothing right now.
Please engage. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's do something. Oh, and also, I mean, this is our first video one too. If the video even works.
We have been recording this on video, but it's like we have to see if it looks good before we put it out. So
that's a good point. I actually
might
hate that.
not be
I hate that I mentioned it. But,
yeah.
Oh well, there it is. Now
there
it's
it is.
documented, so now you know that we're trying.
Welcome to our home.
Welcome to our home. This is our living room, a home
This is
in
our
which
living
we
room,
live.
and this
is an outro.